This informative presentation was created for the benefit of our school board as the high school begins to further research online or virtual options to benefit our students and for us to grow into the 21st century within the academic realm. This will be focusing specifically on virtual learning, the background and history of it, potential challenges, possible opportunities, and foreseeable benefits, in addition to necessary technology needs, distance collaboration that will be required, and the local facilitation required by either staff, faculty, or those around. So what specifically is virtual learning? How is it defined within the classroom environment, and how will our current teachers' instruction change? Simply put, virtual learning occurs when students obtain course content via a virtual medium. You may be wondering what exactly we mean when we say virtual, as this encompasses quite a broad spectrum. For our purposes, virtual learning could materialize into students physically present within the classroom setting being required, while for other students, content may be delivered to them through a course management system or content learning system, such as Blackboard, Moodle, etc. These students would not be required to attend school. Instead, those students would be learning within their field of interest, their content areas, except in the field. As a result of the variety of methods virtual learning can be rendered, teachers will most likely have to accommodate and or modify their instructional strategies in order to clearly communicate this content within the online environment. According to Verdiam and Clark in 1991, virtual learning is defined as being essentially about educational improvement, school reform, and improving academic performance in America's high school. Nonetheless, the main difference between virtual learning and learning within the traditional K-12 classroom setting would be the methods utilized by the teachers to accurately and efficiently transfer the content concepts to their students. Possible challenges and corresponding responses would include the sources of funding in order to update technology and build the necessary needed infrastructure in order to obtain the most up-to-date technology devices for student use. In addition, funding would come into place as far as where are we going to staff our teachers? Are we going to primarily place them in online course settings or face-to-face courses? What if students transfer in and out of courses and the time allocated for teachers to teach online is vastly different than from the beginning of the semester than 3 weeks in. In addition, time allocation of the teachers in order for them to create the content for the online courses. How are we going to supplement their pay in order for them to create that content and collaborate with other professionals within their content areas? Additionally, funding issues will come into place with students and families. How will they obtain the necessary and required technology devices? Will schools be supplying them? Will we be paying for them and loaning them out? Will there be scholarships for grants for students to apply for? Will the government pay for this? Many questions come up when it comes to student funding for families with this. However, as a result of virtual schooling opportunities, those students out of district may be inclined to have their academic funding come towards our school because of the opportunities we give, the online schooling. Successful online programs, if they're done correctly and appropriately and effectively, there will be an increase of interest. When there's increased interest, there's increased funding. And when you have more funds, you can reallocate the resources used for or used in face-to-face classes for the virtual learning courses. Other challenges may be many people may think of, or hurdles, would be the need for personal connections between teachers and students, and students and students alike. The use of these content learning systems or course management systems allow for that interaction. They allow students and teachers to place a personal picture on their profile or upload all their information about their personal life in order for their fellow classmates and their instructors to get to know them better. They can use avatars to create a picture, or they can actually use their own personal picture. Finally, once the course is created, from that point on, as long as content isn't changed, there's very little background legwork that has to be done. Once it's created, why invent the wheel? You use it over and over. Some definite opportunities would be, as I mentioned before, the attraction of additional students. Additionally, the use of or the ability to meet the state requirements for online and virtual learning. Additionally, when students are outside of the classroom or they are past classroom hours, they're going to be getting and obtaining the content that they would have gotten throughout the day. However, throughout the day, they're actually in the field. They're out with businesses, with companies, with those who are actually using all of that content, all of those procedures you learn about in science and in English every single day. Virtual learning in schools allows students to look into possible interests that their school community may not have to offer. It would also provide a safety net for them to learn how to utilize and how to optimize virtual schooling before it gets too late. There's also a link actually on the next slide that I'm going to show you in order for students to learn how to best utilize their time and learn those soft skills. Finally, students with special needs would greatly benefit from the ability to go to school virtually. If they have a school phobia, or if they're homebound medically, physically, or emotionally, this allows them to keep up with their fellow classmates, which is huge. Okay. 3 common themes teachers need to be aware of, and that which are huge ideas and definite key points in how to properly facilitate online courses or virtual courses, would be the knowledge of the technology you need, distance collaboration between students and teachers, and the local facilitation which is needed. A great resource to utilize would be the Michigan Virtual High School. This program has been around for quite some time and runs smoothly and has positive results. Obtaining research and using their methods would be highly, highly suggested. As far as taking a look at Michigan Virtual High School, some of their classes they would offer, which aren't usually courses you would find in the school, would be, for example, employability skills or careers finding in order to find your future, or career planning courses. In addition, going into the math classes, you have personal finance or the math of baseball. That's awesome, but it gets kids actually involved and interested in the math class or in the electives class, or even in social studies courses with anthropology, leadership skills development, or sociology. These are also offered throughout the school year, semester and trimester, and in the summer. So it's very, very flexible as far as who, when, and where you're going to take the course. There are definitely parenting meetings for those with students taking online courses in order for them to understand and assist their kids in completing their coursework. For example, if you go to the 21st Century Session outlines, they show optional meetings for parents in order to understand how to help their kids. Finally, these bottom links are examples of what we can find online in order to help students bridge their understanding from the content and the everyday outside world. For example, the first one, benefits of learning management systems. A lot of people think that it's not very personable. However, if you take a look at this video, it will definitely show us how schools and how virtual classes show kids,
travel time
help
and
kids.
costs associated with face-to-face instructor-led training. However, many of those responsible for creating and implementing the virtual classroom are new to this form of multimedia learning and as such fall into the trap of assuming that synchronous classrooms are simply recreations of traditional classroom settings. Let me clearly point out that they are not. Why? Because training in a virtual classroom eliminates the body language social cues that we take for granted in face-to-face instructor-led training sessions.
So as you can see, there are this is one of many examples teaching or showing teachers how to facilitate an online course. Additionally, there is the other website that is showing and helping kids understand how to achieve personal success. So on this page, for example, you have Achieving Personal Success. And it's a full-on course. Stanford University put it out, and it goes into how you will achieve personal success within the online environment. Additionally, there's basic study skills. So these are all the soft skills kids will need. Biology and behavior and psychology, exploring architecture. All of this is very, very important. As of right now, we're at the forefront. I feel virtual learning will be a substantial part of our students' academic lives. And if we embrace this type of learning, make certain the setup, staffing, and implementation of the base of the program is carried out properly and effectively, our school will have phenomenal results. Thank you.